Symbolyc.com.
Man, I actually love it, and I have like so many different confirmations, because you know, people ask me this, like I have, it's certain people that approach me and they may be in the same kind of the same situation. We're like, how do you deal with this or whatever? And I basically tell them that no matter who I work with, or no matter like where I'm at, what type of environment I'm in, I'm always gonna be me, and I'm always gonna represent Christ or whoever, you know, no matter who I work with. So if I'm working with a secular artist, I'm still gonna be me, and I'm still gonna, you know, I don't have to adapt to what everybody else is doing. For instance, if I'm in a session and, you know, or not even that, if I'm around somebody and they're doing something that I wouldn't normally do, whether it's like smoking or drinking, I never feel like I have to fit in, you know. So that's always my approach. So when I'm working with these artists, I always tell myself it's a reason that I'm here. And one of the confirmations for me is like working with Kanye. Like when I worked with him, and like I say, I was just being me, like just representing what I represent. And after that first trip, like when I came home, I got this email from him, and it was pretty lengthy email, and he was basically just telling me how he loved my spirit and he loved like just my positivity and my energy. And that was kind of confirmation, like no matter who I work with, people are looking, you know, people are always looking at how you living and how you are approaching certain situations that you put in. So I always use that as an example, and it's tons more. Like with artists I work with, people have approached me and be like, man, there's just something about you that, you know, that I like. So I always use that as whoever I'm working with, by the way I walk and talk, like they're looking at that, and you never know how that can change somebody. So I always have to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, no matter who I work with. You know what, I usually, basically what I always tell myself that what I do is always a representation of Christ. So for instance, if I'll always use this as a scenario. If I sell, if I give a homeless man $1, for instance, if I have a homeless man and I give him $1, I've done my part. I've done my part by giving him something. Now that it's in his hands, he has a choice to what he's gonna do with that $1. He can go and buy him some food with it, or he can go and buy him some drugs or alcohol or whatever. But I did my part. So I always figure what I do is just my contribution. What you do with it, like that's your choice or your decision. But I'm doing, you know, I'm still representing Christ in all that I do. You know, whether it's my music, whether it's whether I'm performing, whether I'm doing anything, I'm always going to represent that. Now, if I hand it to you and you choose to do this with it, you know, that's you. But I'm always going to be a positive influence. You know, if anybody, if I'm in the studio with an artist and they ask my opinion or feedback on a certain song, whatever, I'm always going to tell them. I don't never feel like I have to be what's the word? I don't feel like I have to, I can always be myself and give how I feel about a certain situation. Now, once I give you that, and you know, you can take it and receive it however you want, but I'm always gonna stand on what I truly believe in. I mean, there was a situation, I'll just say, like with my dude Ron Fest, like he's working on this album, and I went up to Chicago to work with him for like 2 days. And I don't know, it was just because I'm overseeing his project. He had a couple songs and the language was pretty, you know, so he was just asking, he was like, yo, what you feel about it? And I was like, man, to be honest with you, I was like, I think a lot of these words you're using you can substitute, you know, with cleaner words, and just, you know, just make sure that the project is, you know, a better representation, and it can reach more. You know, you want to reach, you don't want to isolate people. And I feel like when you start using certain words, you start to isolate the kids, you start to isolate the older people, you start to isolate, and it's like, man, if you just clean that up, you know, then you have music for everybody. So I guess it was kind of wearing on him, because a couple days later he called me and he was like, yo, he was like, I'm trying to clean some of these songs up, you know. So just by me saying that, I guess he actually started to think about it, and it was kind of playing on his conscience to where he's like, okay, that makes sense. Let me start to kind of see if I can substitute some of these words and clean it up. So, you know.